What is going on, savages? So I got a little bit of bad news, kind of bad. The power supply for the streaming computer, rig, whatever you want to call it, that I've been building, the Riot Gear build, didn't come in. There was a lot of traffic where I'm at here, like a lot of traffic, and I think that I did get a notice that it might be late from Amazon, so maybe it'll come during the stream. I don't know, but apparently they were probably caught up in traffic. So anyway, it's late, it's not here yet, so that kind of sucks, but we got some other stuff we can do. I could put the motherboard in the case and all that. I don't know, we'll see. I kind of want to reconfigure that rig like I was talking about last night, and then I've got a couple other things I want to talk about too. So let's get to it. What is up, Yashnik and Ronas420? What's going on, man? So last night, I don't know if it was last night, one of these nights this week, probably, yeah, it would have been on the Ravencoin video, I think. I started talking about like Ravencoin's roadmap and what they've got planned and how things didn't seem to be moving along very well, or very quickly because of the whole forking and getting ASICs off the network and all that stuff that happened. Well, just today they came out with a Medium post about the securities token roadmap, and so I want to talk about this for a minute because I did bring it up. I told you that they were working on the security tokens. I don't think I called it security tokens at the time, but I was just saying that there were restricted assets and tags that they were working on. And this goes in line with being compliant with the SEC regulations. I think it's they actually bring it up here. I think it's the Securities Act of 1933 and all that stuff. So they're trying to build in this capability on the Ravencoin network to allow security token offerings, compliant STOs, to be on the network. So it's really cool. Clearly they've been working really hard because there's some things in here that I haven't even heard of. So and where's the fireball? It's right. Whoa, what happened there? Hang on a second. It's right. Why is this? It should have been right there. Let's see here. Why is it not showing anything? That's weird. Let me see here. You know what I probably did? I was messing around with my cameras earlier, so. Let me see if I can straighten this out. Might not be able to. Yeah, I was kind of playing around my video settings earlier, and I might have jacked something up here. There we go. I got it back. But yeah, I do have it here too. Fire T, a little fireball and T. I think this is my second one, I think. So I'm not 3 in like normally. Or wait a minute, I'm not 3 in like normally. Yeah, I'm only 2 in. But I made them kind of strong this time, so we'll see what happens. So anyway, back to the whole Ravencoin thing. So they've been, like I was discussing on the stream that night, whenever we were talking about Ravencoin, they've been busy, they've been working, which is good, especially after the hard fork, and they were able to recoup from that and actually press forward with, a little bit of roadmap items here. So it says here, all this stuff that happened with the ICOs and the very first, basically the first coin that you could invest in, like an offering, like buy tokens, was Mastercoin, and that was in 2013. And then all hell broke loose in 2017 with all the ICOs. So while all that's going on, and getting, I think it says here, there's still a few projects like EOS and SIA that have, actually been fined, I think, by the SEC. I don't know if both of them have. I think EOS was, though. But they've cooperated with the SEC, pushed their projects along. But all the while, Ravencoin developers and the community have been writing code and building technology to solve the problems faced by those interested in issuing legally compliant token offerings. So, this is like the step above an ICO. So an STO is something that should be compliant with regulations, and you're able to basically accept investments from investors, things like that. So these are some of the features that they're adding to Ravencoin probably pretty soon. If I was to guess, because they're putting this out in a Medium article, I don't really know when or if they have another fork planned. But we talked a little bit about the whole algorithm thing. It didn't seem like it kicked off FPGAs. It seems like FPGAs are still on the network, possibly, maybe even some ASICs. So I don't know if maybe they're going to combine all these features in with another algorithm change. I would hope so, to maybe get ASICs off the network. Maybe they'll go to some algorithm that is, makes ASICs basically not so efficient when compared to GPUs, or even CPUs. So I don't know what the plan is for that, but we will see. So they are working on a lot. They've got the restricted assets going. I talked a little bit about those in the stream. Tags, all these things. One thing that I would like to point out, and I brought this up whenever they were talking about the KYC platform. So they've got this business here called Finclusive, and apparently they have some KYC features, basically, so that you can, if you KYC with them, they're going to create the tokens on the network, on the Ravencoin network, that prove KYC, AML, OFAC. I'm not even sure what OFAC is. But they're going to prove that for individuals or for users, and then be able to pass that information to different platforms. So, other platforms that basically, what's the word here? Other platforms that trust the Ravencoin network and Finclusive will be able to use this platform for KYC. So, for example, if you were wanting to join an exchange, for example, that supported this KYC as a platform, then instead of providing the exchange with additional KYC, your ID, your address, your phone number, whatever, all that stuff that you have to do to get on an exchange or any other service for that matter, instead of doing that, that business, whatever that exchange is, can reference or can trust the information coming from the Ravencoin network through Finclusive and say, hey, this person has already KYC'd, here's his information, so on and so forth. So instead of KYCing with all these different services, exchanges, anything, banking, whatever, instead of doing that, now you can KYC once with Finclusive and then use that same KYC info so that it's stored on the blockchain and in one place, basically, essentially. And all those other exchanges and all those other services can actually reference that particular KYC info. Know your customer. So I brought this up a long time ago, actually. I think I tweeted about it or something, about how cool it would be. And then apparently Microsoft is working on something similar. I don't remember what the name of it is. But this is definitely a push in the right direction, in my opinion. So yeah, cool stuff coming out of the Ravencoin camp. Some things that I didn't even know about were like the freeze assets. Now some of this stuff sounds a little bit iffy, because you want a free and open way of communicating, free and open blockchain data and transactions and all that stuff. Okay, great, we got that. But in the case of security token offerings, STOs, you have to comply with some of the regulations, and that comes with a little bit of features that aren't so great. You can have information, you can have assets frozen, depending on, let's see, it says here, this is required for security tokens to prevent their movement in the event that the holder is found to be a bad actor. Like if you've done something wrong, or if you're a criminal in some way, then they could potentially freeze that asset. Now, you got to keep in mind that this is not talking about Ravencoin itself. This is talking about assets built on the Ravencoin network. So for example, if I created the SavageMine token of the SavageMine asset like I have, and then I did all the information, or did all the procedure for creating basically a security token, and then I issued those tokens, but then someone used those tokens to do something illegal, and I had all this other stuff set up on here, the whole tags and restricted assets and all that. If I had it set up properly, then we could freeze those assets, right, from going to the people that are bad actors, right? So it looks like that is another use for these features is for Rule 144 restricted stock. So there's a lot of regulations and a lot of references to government documents and things like that. Rule 144, for example. There's a lot going on here. It's super complicated, but obviously it is definitely moving in the right direction, being able to launch an STO on the Ravencoin network. So cool stuff. Looks like they're going to have memos, they're going to have dividends and payments. I kind of talked about that on the stream the other night. They're going to have voting and messaging. And those features, these 9 features here, actually facilitate the building of a compliant ecosystem for security tokens. So that's the goal of this, is to make it compliant. And this article is by Tron Black. He's one of the main developers for Ravencoin. And if you scroll down here, they talk a little bit more about all the different regulations, how things work. And then on the KYC side, it says here, combining the tag feature of Ravencoin with a very trustworthy KYC provider like Finclusive that will tag the Ravencoin addresses with a special tag, KYCF, indicating that KYC information is securely stored and the appropriate databases have been checked. That tag can only be applied by Finclusive because as a Ravencoin tag issuer qualifier, only they have the private keys to assign the tag. So the businesses, the exchanges, or whatever the companies are going to trust Finclusive because Finclusive trusts Ravencoin, basically, is the way it looks to me. And it looks like these STOs are going to cost 1,500 Raven. Pretty high price, actually, because creating a regular asset on the network is 500. And that is normally burned. I would assume that these are going to be burned as well. But that can be pretty expensive. For example, what if Ravencoin was $1? That would be $1,500 to create a security token offering. But if you are creating an STO, typically, it's for trading or it's for investing. So 1,500 might not be that much, right? So I encourage you to check out this. They've got some fact down here too. But yeah, check out this article. It's pretty cool. I don't think that they ever talked about a date as far as when all this would happen or not, or when it was going to happen. Let me double check here. I don't think I got all the way through the whole thing here. Yeah, it doesn't look like they have a date. So I don't know when this is going to happen on the network. But we will see. What's up, Bitcoin Jake? What's up, Yashnik? The Crypto Noob, what's up, man? Yeah, I agree, Yashnik, about public blockchains there. Yeah, for sure. What are you linking there, Yashnik? What is this about? Let me grab that. Oh, DC Adventure, yeah. Oh, shoot, they're coming up. Oh, 11 minutes. Oh, dang. I didn't know that. Well, I might just have to change my stream around a little bit here. Yeah, I knew that Crypto Mikhail was involved in some Friday night stuff too. Seems to be the popular time, so that's okay. Yeah, so my power supply didn't come in for my rig for the new streaming machine. What else was I going to talk about? Oh, I know what I was going to talk about. So you guys know how I'm kind of supporting, not kind of, but I am supporting Hashrate OS. And they actually have a, let me show you here. So I'm mining, I've got Hive OS up and running over here, mining Cadena. Why, I don't know, just playing around with it. But the Hashrate team has, the Hashrate OS team has a utility called Installer, I think is the name of it. And it actually goes out and scans your network and can find running rigs, and you can log into them with your SSH credentials and actually install Hashrate OS on a rig that's currently running Hive OS, for example, or maybe even Simple Mining or whatever. As long as you have the credentials to log into the rig, you can actually upgrade it. So for example, if you were a huge mining farm and you had, I don't know, 100 rigs, then you could use this tool to search all of those rigs on the whole network, the whole subnet, and install Hashrate OS remotely on those rigs. So that's the way it's supposed to work. So I was going to do a little test, and I have not tested this software at all before this stream. So this is no shit live stuff here. I did open it, I did extract it, and I took a quick look at it, and that was it. I have not done anything with it at all. So I did run it once. Now I don't know, I don't think that this is like openly available. I think that yeah, so it's not really public just yet. This is just like a little test platform, I guess, which is kind of cool. So I will go ahead and give it a shot here and see if we can get this rig right here that's currently running Hive OS in place. We'll try to get it running Hashrate OS. So it's called Mass Install, and I think they're going to do some work on it and clean it up, make it prettier or whatever. I don't know what they're going to do, but it has a readme.txt in here. And if you look at that, it tells you some requirements. I think that the framework, .NET framework, isn't so incredibly important as far as the version goes, but the VC++, C++, Visual C++, 2013 runtime is important, so you have to make sure you have that. And it's got some real quick little instructions here, how to uninstall it if you want to, and all that stuff. So let's take a look at it. I'm going to run it. And then it comes up and it needs logon information, and this is the information for the hash rate website. So it's this information. So however you get to here is what you would enter into this little login box that comes up. All right, and then it comes up like this. I don't know if I can make this a little bit bigger. No, it doesn't change the font size or anything. So now it wants a range. My local network for mining rigs is 192.168.1. I'm sorry, 192.168.1.1. We'll start at 1. We could start at 2, I guess. And then 192.168.1.254. That'll be the full range right now. I know what the rig that I want to use. I know what the IP address is of it. So I could just shrink this down a little bit to not so much of a range like that. So we'll go 100 through 110. That sounds good. And then the SSH login is for the rig that you're going to be looking for. And then if you have rigs that have different logons, SSH logons, then you can just run this multiple times, right? So you'll just run it each time for whatever rig, whatever different logons you have, right? So in this case, it's HiveOS. We'll use the default stuff here, the default port, and then we're going to choose scan. So I think that whenever it says scan is finished, I think that means, yeah, it just added that all by itself. Okay, so it found the 1 and it did log on to it, right? And it shows a little bit of the hardware, motherboard, the OS that's currently running, the name, the rig name. All right, so that's cool. And then also whether or not hashrate OS is actually installed. So this is kind of neat. So then I think we have to choose this. So we put a check mark next to the rig and then choose add to install. That's added. And then if we go to install tab, I think we get to do it again. We just check the rig that we want to install it on. Looks like it has a password here. So I'll give it a password. And that's for the new rig, right? So this is going to program the new rig with this password. All right, let's see if this works. And we're going to click on install. So it looks like it's just downloading the HashrateOS install files. Probably, I mean, it's got to be doing it on the rig, so it's downloading those files to the. It's currently running on a USB. It's got plenty of space, or it should. It's got 32 gig USB in there, so that should be fine. And probably going to take a little bit because I think I want to say the image is 2 gig or something for HashrateOS. I could be like totally way out to lunch on that. Let's see here. Okay, so it says start installation. I was trying to find HashRate.os image. Oh, here it is. Yeah, it starts as 1 gig. I don't know how big it gets once you extract it or anything, but yeah, I wonder how this does the config file, the config.txt file. I wonder if it's going to come up and ask me a couple of questions, you know, like the rig token and the things that you have to add to the config.txt file. That's interesting. I wonder how it's going to do that. So I don't know how long that's going to take. Yeah, so the extracted image is for HashRate.os. Looks like it's about 1.6 gig. What's up, Ryan Lopez? If you're talking about my channel, why, thank you. I don't know if that's what you're talking about there, but I appreciate it. I'm excited about getting the new machine built, but I'm not excited about trying to get all the data over to it. I'm going to try to clean my data storage up, so hopefully it's, you know, not a complete disaster. That's the one good thing about getting a, you know, new system is you only bring over what you absolutely need, you know. Oh, well, I appreciate that, Ryan. Yeah, me too. I like the privacy coin space. So I did kind of prepare this rig for maybe taking it apart and consolidating. Remember I was talking about that last night. So I might actually do that. We might do that once we get past this part to see if this works, and then we'll press on with maybe reconfiguring this thing. I'd like to get, the goal would be to get 10, possibly 11 GPUs on one 6 GPU Veta frame. I know it's going to run hot, but I just kind of want to play around with it and see, because the GPUs are going to be pretty close. You know, there's not going to be a lot of airflow in between them, but mining kryptonite coins or kryptonote coins. I mean, it's pretty cool most of the time. So it looks like right here it says installation started, waiting for finishing. All right. And the rig did shut down. I heard it stop mining, so that's cool. I mean, it's not shut down. It's still powered on, but it's not doing anything. I can hear all the fans shut off, and it's just kind of sitting there. If this works like this slick, this very first time like this, that's super impressive. Hey, what's up, Red Panda? You just got home from work? Just now? Animal. So, Red Panda, to try to bring you up to speed here, what we're doing, Hashrate OS actually has a, I don't know if you were following or not, so I'll kind of recap here, but they have a tool for scanning a network and finding all the rigs running, and you use your SSH logon information. So for example, let's say you've got a GPU mining farm, or a farm that has 100 rigs in it, and you could let's say they're all running Hive OS or Simple Mining OS or whatever, but they all have SSH capability, right? So you could scan that network and find and log in through SSH to each rig using this little installer tool, and actually install Hashrate OS remotely through the network on all those rigs. So we're kind of like testing it out. Kind of cool. It's not really for public release at this point because I think they've got some. Look, the Hashrate guys are doing a lot of work behind the scenes right now. So there's a lot of updates coming and cool stuff. So I've talked a little bit about what they're doing on the channel a little bit, but I don't know a lot. But the few things I do know is really cool. Like the integration with the Zelcore wallet and stuff like that. Really cool stuff. So, but this is one of the things that they're probably going to want to polish and fine tune. Because like right now, for example, let's say that you have a different SSH username and password on each rig, and you've got 100 rigs. And this is going to take a while because you have to use the tool and just scan that one rig with that one username and password. So you can't like make a list of usernames and passwords for all of the rigs and try it on all the rigs to log in. To be able to do this, you have to actually it's like a one-shot thing. You put in your SSH username and password. I think it's over here. Yeah. So you would put it in here. Whatever you put in here is what's going to be scanned. Or submitted to whatever it finds on the network. If it doesn't match and you're not able to log in, then you're not going to be able to install on that rig. So now I'm watching the network activity light on my little switch over here, so I know it's going crazy. So I know that it's still working. It's still doing stuff. It's downloading that 1.6 gig image, I would assume. All right, so the rig just kind of, I think it restarted actually. The sound that it just made, I think it restarted. So some ideas for polishing this up would be multiple usernames and password entries, along with maybe maybe you could give it a source, like a local source for the image, so that it doesn't have to download the image to each rig, because that's what it looks like it's doing. So let's say we had 10 rigs here, it would need to download that image 10 times basically to each rig. No, I was talking about KDA earlier, Kadena, Red Panda. I was just kind of playing around with it. I haven't, I don't know a lot about it. So to answer your question, no, I have not read their economic model. And this is Hive OS, and I've been using Hashrate OS to mine. I think I was mining Rio most recently, and then before that I was mining Aeon. Kind of been switching off a little bit more frequently than I normally do, but I only fired up this Hive OS rig just because, or the Hive OS USB drive on this rig, just so I could do this little exercise here using the Hashrate OS installer. All right, so it looks like, I'm thinking it's done. Yep. Right here it says installation finished successfully. I'm telling you, man, if this works like this, that smooth on the very first try like that, I mean, literally my first time running it. No joke. So that is going to be cool. So let's see. Okay, so here's what it did. All right, so it added it to, y'all can see this, right? So this was the rig before. So if I booted it up off of its old USB that was already configured with Hashrate OS, then it would boot into this rig right here, and this would be where I would control it. But what's happened here is it actually pulled the name from Hive OS and created a new rig here, and it is actually online. But of course, I don't even have an ETH wallet in there or anything, so that's why it's kind of sitting here. It sees it, it's online, which is great. So let's do a miner config here. So we're gonna put the check mark next to there, and then do mining, and then okay, and let's change it to Rio, I think is what I was mining before. We'll change it to Aeon just for the heck of it. Gminer, and then apply. What's up, Dan? Red Panda, what does it have? Does it have some crazy like dev fee or 800 billion coin pre-mine or some shit? I could see that. So if I go to console here, I might be able to see what this thing is doing. So it's miner-show. Oh wow. Let me tell you something. That was super slick. That was really impressive. Running the installer utility on a rig that's currently running Hive OS and installing, basically replacing it on the same USB with Hashrate OS. That's sick. That is sick. I think that was USB 2 that I had, so I have to change this. I try to keep up with my USBs, you know, what's going on with them. Make sure that's 2 over there. Yep, number 2. Man, that's impressive. That was no errors, nothing. The only trick is that you have to know your SSH username and password, which most everybody does. And in this case, for the Hive OS rig, it was the default user and then the number 1. Man, yeah, I don't know. That was pretty slick. And then it's just sitting here already mining Aeon and everything is good to go. Do have one hot GPU though. Don't really hear my fans kicking on, so I might need to throw this thing a reboot. Using quite a bit of power. Oh, you know what? There's no, because it's a brand new rig, there's no overclock settings in here. Let me see if I can delete this rig. Where would I delete the rig from? Yeah, see, I was mining Rio on that rig earlier. The rigs, and then we come in here and we're gonna remove. Yep, remove this one. All right, and then we'll go to wallets. And we will go to, actually no, we need to go to dashboard because we need to configure the overclock settings because this is a brand new rig. So the OS is not familiar with this rig at all. We'll go to tuning. You can see here it's, you know, zeroed out, so there's no settings in here. So we'll go to, I tell you what, man, you know, people criticize me for this, but these what to mine settings seem to work really well as far as overclock settings. 150, 500 on a 1070. They just, I don't know, it just seems to work really well. And then I put a 105, that's about 70% TDP, I think. I always go 60 on the fan. Apply that. All right, and then we got the 1070 Ti's. We'll go back to what to mine. 1070 Ti is 150, 500, 75%. We'll go 115, I think, something like that. 60. And the 1080s. Actually, the 1080s. All right. 1080s are 125, 500. I think I'll do 115 on those as well. 60. Trying to keep the power down, you know, to get a good hash or sol per watt value in there. And then we got the 1660 Super here, which they don't have that in what to mine, but they do have a 1660. It's 100 with 70%. So we'll go with what was that? Got already 100. It's not, that's 70 watts. It's not 70%. We'll go like that. You can see right here that's 1.24 right now with 852 watts. You can kind of see that right there. So let's see what happens after I click update rig and it reboots that miner. It should go up to like 1.24 at a lot less power. Or I'm sorry, 1.27 I think is probably what it'll end up at on Aeon. I hear it firing up. Hey, what's up, CR? All right, so you can see right here, 1.26. It's probably going to level out at 1.27, but it's 200 watts less than what it was just a second ago with default overclock settings. So that's pretty strong. That's 200 watts. That's what, 20%? 20% decrease. So that's pretty strong. Maybe 25%. So that is a really good number there. So I got more souls per second and a lot less wattage. So those are two things. Those are two things you really like a lot. You know, more hash rate, less power, right? So super strong there. So that, I mean, man, that I can't say it enough. That is super slick, using that installer utility to install Hashrate OS on a running Hive OS rig. That's strong. That is really strong. And then it just, boom, it just caught it and it was up and running. I mean, it did give it a new name. Now I wonder what would have happened had the name been exactly the same. Would it have just showed up in Hashrate OS as the same name? I don't know. That'd be a good test. But because it saw that new name, it just created a whole new. That's another thing to point out, is it actually created a whole new rig for you in Hashrate OS without you even doing anything. So it's got a new token. So those of you that saw my token the other night in the live stream for my rig, guess what? Now I got a new rig and you haven't seen that token, so you can't steal my hash rate. So yeah, cool stuff, man. That is really slick. I'm thoroughly impressed with that. Because you could literally take 1,000 GPU farm or 1,000 rig farm and use that same procedure to convert them all over to Hashrate OS. You gotta like it. You gotta like it. Now you're gonna run into a problem if you have different usernames and passwords for the SSH console access on each one of those rigs. That's gonna be bad because you'll have to do it one at a time, but still pretty cool nonetheless. Yeah, I really appreciate that shout out there, Red Panda. That was really cool. I did get to watch it after it was done streaming. I don't know what happens, but at work, I cannot watch your live stream or any other premiere. Any other premiere, it will not play. I can watch my own premiere. That's different for some reason. I don't know how, but I can watch my own. But once your premiere is done and over and uploaded and finished, or actually once the premiere is finished, I can watch it. So I watched it right after it happened today. So yeah, I really appreciate that shout out. That was really cool. Great video. I probably need to do something like that because there's a lot of people I could thank as well. You being, one of them, obviously. Here I am, riding your coattails. But it's all good. It was so funny to see, like, it was a little over a year ago, I think you started, and like I was struggling. I was doing random coin mining show still, and I was just struggling. I don't know what happened. I don't know why, but the growth of the channel is just so slow. I don't know what I'm doing. Other than the things that I know that I'm doing wrong, like I'm not monetized and all that stuff. But anyway, so it was funny to see you just like blast right by me. It was kind of crazy because I can remember when Red Panda Mining had less than 100 subscribers. Whenever I first saw it, I was like, this is really cool. It's got cool graphics, and actually I was introduced to Red Panda from the Technicals. The Technicals was the one that brought him up in one of his streams or one of his videos, and I was like, all right, I'll check it out. So I did, and he had like less than 100 subscribers. I was like, okay, I'll subscribe, and then just freaking rocket ship. It's kind of cool. It's cool to see. Really, it's really cool to see. Actually, I'm impressed. So. Yeah, he's Red Panda. He's in the chat now. He just has this formula that just works. And so I'm trying to do some of the things that he does, like the premieres every day and stuff like that. We'll see what happens. We'll see. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but worth a shot. Yeah, cool stuff. Yeah, that was a really cool shout out. There's so many like. There's quite a few YouTube, crypto YouTubers, and I brought this up. I think that I brought this up last night. How, I'll just go back to whenever I was first exposed to like blockchain and crypto. It's one of those things where you first get involved in it, and you're reading about it. If you're smart, you read about it and you figured out, the Bitcoin white paper, and you read it. And you kind of understood. Now I don't know if I probably haven't. I don't know if everybody on the stream now has probably heard the story, but I got hit really hard in 2008 with the financial crisis and stuff, as far as my home value and all that stuff. And there's some movies. What was the name of that movie? The Big Short. If you haven't seen it, you gotta watch it. But I watched that movie, The Big Short. And it was about the financial crisis and what happened and how things were going and who was talking to who and who was doing what and all the fraud and all that shit. And let me tell you, I watched that movie. I was so mad. I think it came out in 2008. No, it was after that. It was probably 2010 or something. I don't know when the movie came out. But I remember watching it, and I was so mad. I couldn't even talk to my like close friends and family for like a whole day because I was so mad at the fraud and the shit that went on with that whole thing, right? And I watched the value of my house literally was cut to like down to 40%, right? So within like 2 years, it went down from what I bought it at to 40% of what I bought it at. So I was devastated, right? And had I done the right thing at the time and kind of like looked into Bitcoin, I wasn't real familiar with it. I saw like little things about it here or there, but I wasn't on Reddit, so I didn't see it like every day. I wasn't, I wasn't getting it blasted in my face all the time, but I did hear about it on CNBC and stuff. I think they started covering it like 2013 or maybe 2012 or something. But I have no idea where I was going with the story. This happens to me all the time. But basically, I should have been more involved in Bitcoin. And again, I have no idea where I was going with the story. That's the way my brain works. I was talking about... Yeah, forgot. Totally forgot. I was trying to make a point about crypto in general. Oh, the community. That's right. Okay, so the crypto community. So we are you know, whenever I was first exposed to it, that's what I was going to say. See, I'm getting better. I can remember now. So what I was going to say was whenever I was first exposed to crypto and blockchain technologies, like everything was solvable by blockchain, right? Any problem that was out there, right? Whenever you're first exposed to it, you're like, this is the greatest thing ever, right? And, you know, I read the Bitcoin white paper and I was like, wow. And to find out later on, you know, obviously, that it was released because of the financial crisis. I mean, I really regret not getting involved whenever I very first heard about it, because it basically was the result of that crisis that we went through, you know, and that always sticks with me a lot. You know, it really hits me hard, you know, whenever I think about that aspect of it. It's like this was released because of that problem, you know, that government, the bailout and all that stuff, you know. So yeah, but I'm past that now. I don't look at everything like everything's solvable with blockchain or crypto. Now I'm much more critical, but we are like the crypto YouTubers, especially on the mining side. We're a small group, and there's been some that have left, right? The little small group of crypto mining YouTubers that we have. You know, I think that they're probably, most of them are in the chat right now, right? If you really think about it. I mean, some of them. So I don't know how many total. It's got to be less than 20 that I see all the time. You know, I mean, there might be some that do a video every now and then, but as far as real consistent videos and decent, like, content wise, it's got to be I was gonna say less than 10. I think it's probably less than 10, but I'll just be conservative and say, or liberal and say, we'll say 20, less than 20. So less than 20. Hey, thanks Henry for the subscription there. Thanks. So thanks Henry, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, so it's a small community. And I mentioned last night, I think it was last night, that I mentioned how Christopher Walken, he was on the core podcast for Zell, and he said it like this. He said, you know, like crypto itself is a niche, right? Or a niche, however you say it. I say niche. That's just me. Southern boy kind of stuff. So, you know, crypto itself is a niche, but crypto mining is a niche of a niche. So if you always remember that as a crypto miner, you kind of know where you sit in this whole ecosystem, right? So, I mean, we support the projects that we believe in with our hash power, which is all great, but we are a niche of a niche. And whenever you are out in town, you like, whenever I first got into crypto too, I was thinking, I do this all the time. I really felt like I was behind, and I felt like I needed to really dedicate a lot of time to it to get caught and up to speed on it, right? But I felt like everybody else was ahead of me. Like even people that didn't even know what crypto was, right? So, you know, I'm just saying in general, I felt like I was so behind that everybody and everybody around me I thought already knew about it. But come to find out they don't. And most people are pretty stupid. So when it comes to, you know, technical stuff. So yeah, we're all still at the very, very, very beginning. We aren't even considered, and I said this last year actually, around the end of last year, we aren't even really considered early adopters. We're actually before early adopters, right, to the overall technology. So we haven't even hit that early adopter stage yet. So yeah, what's up, Henry? I appreciate it, man. We're a small group. We're a small community. I don't have a problem with saying your name on the stream here. It's all good. Yeah, so, all right. I look funny? Are y'all talking about me? Why do I look funny? Damn, that's not very nice. Yeah, I mean, there were, on the financial crisis side, I think it was there was Greenland and Iceland, I think, that got hit even harder than the U.S. because they invested in it's a weird way, and yeah, brutal. That was so brutal. So I basically went through 10 solid years of being like underwater in my house and just worrying about like how and then to top it off, it wasn't really a great house in a great neighborhood. There was problems with it, right? So I just kind of had to just endure that, you know. It wasn't great. There were some really rough times in there, um, where things got a little dangerous in the neighborhood and stuff. So it was, yeah, it was not good. So now we're in a lot better neighborhood. Yeah, Iceland would be great for crypto mining for sure. And this was really cool. That whole deploying hash rate OS like that, I'm just so impressed with that. That's a technological feat right there. The way that they did that, that is really cool. I know nothing about Veriscoin. I think there who isn't there someone? Oh, Dan knows about Veriscoin. I think. Yeah, I haven't even really looked at it. Thanks, TV Time. Appreciate it. All right, so throw in the troll box there whether or not y'all want to um, reconfigure this rig over here, because I have to go to the bathroom. um, so just talk about it real quick over there. Maybe Dan and Red Panda, the mods there, could maybe tally some votes or something. Do y'all want to tackle that? Basically, the goal would be to let me turn on the light here. All right, so the goal would be to basically take this rig. Whoops, there we go. Take this rig apart, at least the top frame, and consolidate all. I had 12, now I have 11. 11 GPUs on one 6 GPU Veta frame rig, right? So I think it'll be kind of cool, a cool little project. Um, I don't know. I think we should do it, but let me know in the troll box over there whether or not y'all want to deal with that or not. But I'll be back in a minute. I'm gonna get another drink and um, go to the restroom because I've been drinking fire teas already. So give me a couple minutes. I just checked to see if they delivered my PSU while I was on the stream here, and they did not. That sucks. I just gotta try to set up some cameras here. I'm here. I'm just kind of looking around here. Let's see here. Yeah, this Henry, this right here is hash rate OS right here. So yes, I am using it. Now, I'm not like totally prepared with like tools and stuff like that. So I might have to like dip out and grab tools or whatever. So just kind of bear with me here as we go through this and see what this looks like. That should be pretty good. Try to get a little bit of light over here. All right, so I think what we'll do first, again, I'm not really prepared with like tools and stuff, but I think I have everything we need though. Maybe. I think I need to get this camera back a little bit here. All right, so here's the goal. The goal is to move everything from the top rig, because this was a 12 GPU rig before, 12 RX 580s. So what I intend to do is basically get rid of this top frame, not get rid of it, but consolidate everything that's on this top frame, which right now is just the PSU and the fan power splitter, and get it down to the bottom rig and put 11 GPUs, 10 or 11, probably 10 actually, on the bottom frame. So that's what we're looking to do here. So before we get started, this thing is super dusty, but that's okay. I should have taken it out to the garage and done a little bit of compressed air on it. don't know why I'm not doing these yet. I need to do some other stuff first. I was getting ahead of myself. Let's do the fans. And those are in there really good. Okay, those aren't coming out. All this stuff has been this way for a really long time, so it's like nothing's really like wanting to come apart very well. Kind of funny. I've been wanting to show Red Panda this right here actually, because he has some PSUs, some server PSUs in his rigs too. I was going to show him what I did here. I don't know if he ever saw it or not. I forgot how well I did this shit. This is crazy. Disconnect all these power cables here. So like this is the little platform that I made for the server PSUs so that the breakout board wasn't just hanging out there by itself, right? So it's like a little piece of plastic, plexiglass from Home Depot, and cut it out to size, drilled holes in it so that it would basically use the hardware, the extra hardware from the Veta frames, right? I don't know if you can see that or not. So I use that to secure it into the rig. This is some high-end shit here. A lot of work. All right, and then you get a pair of cutters. Probably should just focus on taking everything out right now. I think that would probably be best. I go about 80% on my cable management. I like it to look somewhat clean, but I'm not too crazy. I don't go overboard with it. As far as time goes, I don't spend a whole lot of time on it. This rig hasn't been taken apart in quite a few months, so it's quite dusty. And did I see correctly that Hash Raptor actually painted? Did I see correctly on his Stormtrooper build? Did he paint these? Like spray paint? Let me know if that's what I saw. I was kind of in and out of the video, but I don't know if I missed that part or what. But it seemed like he painted them. That was kind of cool. I think he mentioned buying them in the future, I guess, but that was a really neat build that he did. Man, I can't believe how hard these are to get out. Good grief. Okay, there must be like a little catch or something on them. Man, oh man, these things are tough. This is like a little power splitter for the fans. Good grief. I don't remember them being this difficult to get out. This was one of my first rigs, so I went a little bit crazy with the fans, power splitter, and some other break-even point crushing things like that. Push my break-even point out quite a bit. Silly little expenditures like that, but it was fun. I just wish that they weren't so dang difficult to get out. Good grief. Man, I really don't remember it being that hard. What is going on? Okay, good grief. So yeah, this is like a little thermal take power splitter and power splitter. Totally unnecessary, but like I was saying, it was cool at the time. All right, so one row of fans off. See what else I got up here. Forget what they call these nuts. whatever they're called, they're stuck. There we go. Can't get it to spin, so I can get it out of there. I have to wait to get those out. Okay, I'll wait on that. Alright, so I think that we are ready to take off the top frame. Nothing else on there. I saw that Red Panda actually learned the little trick with this, with these frames, as far as stacking them, and then if you need to remove one that is stacked on top of the other one, what you can do is just drop the bracket down, or this little slider thing, so if it'll go. So if you wanted to remove this top piece or this top frame, you would just slide this down a little bit, not all the way, right? So you don't want to, you want to have maybe like half an inch up here. And then you could tighten it back down so that it doesn't fall, and then that'll give you some stability while you remove the rig, right? So you're only going to have a little piece sticking up, you know, half an inch or whatever. So in my case, there's nothing on the rig, so I'm not really worried about it. But if you had GPUs on it, you'd want to be kind of careful with it. You wouldn't want it to slide off and hit your other components and all that stuff. So this is going to be fun. The only thing is, the part that I hate about doing it like live is I'm probably going to rush a little bit and not do like cable management and whatnot like I would if I wasn't rushing, you know. So. I guess it's probably better anyway to just go ahead and get it up and running and then worry about the wire management later, or cable management. And if you haven't noticed, I'm not going to be able to interact with the chat, so I don't know what y'all are talking about over there. I don't have a huge monitor, so I can read chat from as far away as I am, so trying to drop these sliding brackets down. That's kind of what I was talking about. There it goes. Cool. T-slot nuts, that's what those things are called, the T-slot nuts, the little silver ones that go down in the rails and lock into place. These guys right here. T-slot nut, that's what it's called. Alright. Alright, so check this out. This particular bracket here, I actually have already modified to have more spots, you know, for securing a GPU. So like by default, you know, stock, it would have just one here, one here, one here. You can see the little screw holes, the machine screw holes. Probably, you can probably see those, I guess. Right there, there's one. So it has 2 per GPU. Looks like that right there. So I took it and measured everything out and drilled holes and used self-tapping screws to actually create more places where I could secure a GPU and make it look kind of clean. You can see these two. This one is actually a new one, a modified one, right? And then this is the stock one. So you can see how close the GPUs are in this configuration. So it went from only supporting 6 GPUs to supporting 11. So I want to try to get 10 GPUs in here. We'll see how this works. I think it'll be neat for like density and stuff. It'll be kind of cool. I don't really have to take a lot of stuff off of the bottom. I think I'm going to have to, because I have some longer USB cables here, so I'm probably going to replace them because I don't need them to be the 3 feet USB cables anymore. I can just have them be the regular red ones, and I think I checked last week and I've got enough, so I think that'll be fine. Just do some disassembling here real quick. I tried to get the correct size screws for these and use the same exact little hex head screws, the machine screws, but I just couldn't find the right combination, so I had to go with a little bit of a different style, but it works. Really should take this rig out to the garage and spray it down. It is a lot dustier than I thought it was going to be. Let's see if I can get y'all a little bit of a closer view here. What's going on? I think I'm gonna leave these fans in. I don't really think I need to move those. So see, I had to buy these 3 feet, 3 foot USB cables for the second row, right? Because, you know, if you're going from the bottom, I could have saved it by putting the the motherboard on the middle, right? Basically the middle of the whole rig. That would have worked out better, but I wasn't thinking at the time, so I had the motherboard on the bottom rig or the bottom frame, so I had to get longer cables to get up to the top. So let me cut all these cable ties here. So what we'll do is probably just get it up and running, not really worry about too much cable management at first. I'm just going to kind of remove all the cables so I can get everything kind of out of the way. So I can work. So these are like little 1.5 feet, I believe, something like that. Pretty short cables that come with the risers. Kind of short. I got 6 cables here, so I'll need 4 more. Pretty sure I have 4. Alright, so what do we got here? We got these out of here. So I'll have to run 2 of the GPUs off of the main power supply, right? So this main power supply, or the desktop power supply, is a HX850i Corsair. It's powering the motherboard and the PCIe slot. So you've got the connections over here for that. This is a H110 Pro BTC Plus, so it requires supplemental or auxiliary power, I think is what it's called, to the PCIe slots. So you have to connect this. These are Molex connectors here. And there's also a SATA right here next to it. You're not going to be able to see it. Let me see if I can move this over here. There's a SATA right here next to the Molex SATA here. So what I do is I go ahead and connect all of that, right? So I don't want to starve the PCIe lanes or the slots of electricity, right? So I want them to have enough power. So I always do that. Always go ahead and connect them all up. It'll tell you, I think the BIOS will actually tell you if you don't have them connected and you need them connected. If you only have 1 or 2 GPUs in here, you're fine, right? You don't need any auxiliary power. But I think once you get to 3 or 4 or 5, you need to start thinking about this auxiliary power connection here. So there's that. All right, there you go. Microfiber here. This thing is super dusty. Okay, so these 2, I'm going to leave this ran like that. That seems to be pretty solid there. So what is this? This is all the power. Data power here. I think I'm actually going to remove that. Here. I do have a SATA cable here for a hard drive if I was going to use one. SSD. So this was to the power, the fan power splitter. That's what this was to. Yeah, I'm going to cut this and try to clean this up a little bit. Some of this I'm not going to need anymore. So I'm probably going to be able to power my fans. Hopefully I'll be able to power the fans off of this. Now this one SATA cable here is already plugged into the motherboard. So I need to just keep that in mind if something seems kind of goofy whenever I try to power all the fans with this. Whether or not it is supplying enough power or whatever. So I am going to remove this one SATA cable that I was using for the the fan power splitter because it was on the second rack. So I'm going to remove this. I'm going to try to use this one to make it a little bit cleaner since it's already here. All right. I wish this was like a two-way communications, like I could hear y'all. That would be really cool. Y'all are probably laughing at me and stuff. That's all good. What is this? This goes to this one. I wonder if I can reach this. Doesn't look like it. So that's not going to reach, so I'm going to have to leave this. Actually, you know what? What I'll do is I'll actually power the fans off of this. If I can. Yeah, we'll see. I probably can't even see what I'm doing. Oh yeah, you can. This pin came out of the Molex connector here. Man, I love Molex. Awesome. Alright. Yeah, and if you're not using this feature, if you're using a server PSU and you're not using this, kind of crazy that you're not, because this right here, if you have this type of breakout board that has the little 4-pin header like that, it says it's main detection port, I think is the name of it. At least on this breakout board, that's what it's called. So if you use that, and then you connect this to your power supply, then it'll turn this power supply on whenever you power up your system, right? So you don't have to go around and hit the power button on all the server PSUs. It'll all be synchronized and everything. It doesn't work like perfectly, I don't believe, but it is better than having to go and manually do it, I guess. I actually did a video about that like real long time ago, more than a year, I think. I hope y'all aren't talking to me too much. I can't see ya. Oh no, y'all been yelling? Yeah, I'm cleaning on the stream for sure. Save the video. I really can't believe how dusty this is. This is crazy. It wasn't that long ago that I cleaned it. Alright, so I'm going to run 2 GPUs off of the main power supply here. And the rest of them, I'll probably have 4 on this PSU and 4 on this one. It seems to, for me anyway, if I plug in more than 4, GPUs onto one server PSU, then it really gets loud. And I think Red Panda can probably back me up here. It gets really loud. It's like it's stressing out the PSU to run them. So I do 4. I only do 4, and that's 4 splits. So you have 4 cables here. Each cable has a splitter on it, so you go to the GPU and the riser, right? So, and I've kind of thought about this. I think I'm going to put this PSU in the front here. I know you're not really going to be able to see this too well. I think it will fit. Whoops, it's not going to fit. I was thinking it was going to fit right here. Okay, so it might fit. I'll have to play around with that. Okay, so it looks like I might be able to work it in there, and that might actually work. So that'd be cool. Alright, I'll play with that later. Then we'll take this these fans off too, just to get them out of the way. Sometimes you just gotta remove things and get it out of your way so that you can be efficient. All right, a little bit better. I'll be able to get to this server PSU a little bit better too. I'm gonna raise you guys up a little bit here on the camera. Might be able to get y'all a little bit better angle here. Oh, come on. That might be all right. So the one thing I'm kind of worried about, or kind of concerned about, is these cables are so long, right? So there's going to be a lot of cable management I'll have to do, make it look right. Because everything's going to be so close down here now, right? So it's going to be kind of tough. So these were already set up to where they were going to 2 risers, and at least I think that's what it was. And I'll have to play around with this. I don't remember which one went where. We'll have to play around with that. Yeah, cable management is going to be a nightmare on this thing for sure. All right, so I do think that we're ready for first GPU though. I do have like some mixed RX 570s and 580s, so I want to check each one, make sure that they're all 580s that I put in here. I think my 2 570s are over there, so nope, this is a 570. Let's not do that. Alright, so here's my 2 570s. That's kind of weird. I thought they were over there on the shelf. Alright, so here's the first 580. Super unprofitable right now, but that's okay. So I'm gonna need some hardware too, because I'm gonna need some screws. This is kind of what I was talking about. I'm not like totally prepared to do this. I would have probably grabbed all these screws and had everything kind of organized first. But this is just called winging it. So now that I'm thinking about it, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna grab all these screws. Give me a second. Let me get all these screws out of this other frame over here. See, this is the cool thing about doing a live show, right? I mean, it's literally real time, so you get to really see exactly how long things take for real, So you're not misled on thinking that, it takes 5 minutes to set up a rig. Make it look so easy. Alright, so I got all the screws out of the other rig, the old frame. I can put them in here, hopefully. Try not to drop one down into the PSU. That would be hilarious, wouldn't it? I'm super clumsy, so I wouldn't put it past me. Alright, so that works. I do not know much about ASICs, Dan. But I know that other mining farms, ASIC mining farms, like in China, they are definitely selling their BTC to buy mining hardware. So those guys are buying more ASICs, from what I gather. So it's possible that you're making a good decision, but I don't know. I'm not an ASIC guy, so don't listen to me. Let's see which one I'm going to use here. See here. So it looks like it. I'm trying to see how it used to go, right? I think it was like this. Okay, so we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we're gonna use the last 2. Probably should leave them in there anyway, little risers, but adapters. Not a big deal. Yeah, it's been a minute since I built a rig, so this is kind of fun. I can get this on there, right? There we go. All right, lock it in place. That's one pretty much in, but I want to figure out, okay, so this is gonna go on the outside. This is probably to the other two. I'm trying to figure out why I have so many available PCIe power here. This one goes to the other riser. I must have had 3 powered off of in the old rig, the way that I had it, I must have had 3. So I've got plenty of PCIe power here, so we'll see. All right. I'll use this one. Come on. Click. All right, so that's one. All right, let's rock and roll. Now we can get going. Yeah, see how close they are? That's not crazy. These are like self-tapping screws, but they don't work really great. Might have to, and you know, I was not very precise with the holes, so I might have to use just one per GPU, right? Which is fine. I mean, they're a little bit, they have a larger, you know, surface of contact surface on the GPU, so it's not like these little machine screws here, you know, it's got some space there, because this is not going on there all the way like it should. See if I loosen it up a little bit, if it will go or not. Yeah, see, I just messed it up just a little bit because it's not fitting on there. The distance between the holes is just a little bit off. What I'll do is take one of these out. So it should be fine to hold the GPU in place. Yeah, still solid. Pretty good, pretty good. And we're gonna go with the power. If you put my name over there, if y'all want to say something to me. I can see, you know, it highlights it, so I'll be able to kind of see it. Don't want to tell me I'm stupid or whatever. All right. Man, it's gonna be tight in here, man. I think it's gonna look kind of cool though. This is kind of a mock-up though, just to see if it's gonna work. And then we'll do the cable management after the fact. Some people would say back in the day that you shouldn't do what I'm doing right here, but I can tell you this, I've been doing that for a very long time, like daisy chaining or whatever you want to call it here. And with my system, with my GPUs, I've had no problems. So it might be because I typically mine kryptonite algorithms, you know, a little bit not as bad on the power and all that stuff, so it doesn't affect it as bad, as much. All right, so that's 2. This will be 3. So actually, I'm going to be able to do. I might be able to do 4. Let's see. So this is an 850. Yeah, I don't want to do 4. I really only want to do 2 or 3, maybe 3. I don't know. What do y'all think? Can I put? Because you know, you basically say 200 for the CPU, motherboard, and all the RAM and stuff. So 200, that gets me down to 650. Probably about. I would probably a lot. Yeah, I really only need to do 2 actually. I'm really curious as to why I had all these other power cables here. The 2, and then now put 4 GPUs on each server PSU, which would make sense. So what I could do here, yeah, I wonder. I mean, maybe I had these. Maybe I had these with 1 each, but we'll try it like this, see if it works. If not, we'll have to revisit that. So all I've got is the 2 PCIe cables here. I'm going to be able to remove the other ones. Clean up the wiring a little bit. That's cool, to be able to do that. All right, it's time for a drink. Yeah, I did. I did put power on the first 2, yep. They're coming off of a single, I've got two risers powered by a single PCIe cable coming off of the power supply. See if I can get y'all some better light in here. So I've got one PCIe cable for 2 risers and one PCIe cable for 2 GPUs. I think we'll be okay there. Freaking awesome GPUs, man. I love these things. Wish they were still good for mining though. That's one drawback of only having one, is I guess it doesn't hold it tight enough to not let it move at all. So let me see if I can tighten it just a little bit here. It's kind of squirrely on me a little bit. Cloud mining? No. No cloud mining. There's a really high probability that any cloud mining is like super scammy. Alright, so now we're on a situation where we're going to have to start using the server PSUs. So one server PSU cable out of the breakout board has the splitter on it. So one side goes to the GPU. These GPUs only have one 8-pin connector. So one goes to the GPU and one goes to the riser. And what I do, probably should have y'all on the other side, right? Would it make more sense if y'all were on the other side? I guess I could turn this around. I figured y'all kind of like seeing the GPUs line up like that, so. Yeah, maybe I can just turn it around temporarily anyway. So what I like to do is I start here with these two, or this one. I start here and work my way. Y'all can't really see that. Hang on. All these cables in the way. So on a breakout board, I'll start with these two first, this side first, and then work my way around. And the reason for that, I know it's probably not really that logical, but the reason I do that is because if you look at the actual conductor on the breakout board, it starts here and works its way around like that. So like these are at the end of the conductor, right? And there's like it's probably, I don't know what kind of material it is, but it's built into the board, obviously, the PCB. And so I like to start with these first and then go this way. But I only use the first 4 because if I put 6 in there and try to power 6 GPUs off of it, they get so loud and they just produce so much heat that it's super annoying, so I don't do that. So 4 each. And that's just me. You can do whatever you want, but I think it'll support more than 4. I don't know how many. Is Red Panda still in here? This server PSU is a 1200 watt, but because I'm using it on 115, it's only 900. So each server PSU is 900 watts, and the desktop PSU is an 850. You want to go with like 80%, right? You never want to push it to full 100%. I'm kind of doing this backwards, so bear with me here. I don't know how this is going to look. Riser. USB cable. Not that it's USB. This is really just for data. It's definitely not a USB. I mean, it's a USB cable, but it's not doing the functions of a USB. It's just getting the data out there. Let's see here. Okay, pretty solid. See, this is see how close this GPU is to the PSU. That's a lot of extra cable there. So this is going to be a challenge with cable management for sure. Yeah, I messed up the distance on this one too, so I'm gonna have to remove one of the machine screws here, or self-tapping screws. Yeah, I was doing it with basically no measuring or tools or anything, just kind of marking it with a punch, you know? So it didn't work out very well. You gotta be a little bit more precise than that. Apparently. So one of the drawbacks to having everything so close like this is definitely going to be like configuration and changing stuff around. You know, if I need to change a riser or whatever, it's going to be really tough. All right, riser. Here we need power first. Getting a little tired, guys. If I start making some mistakes, you all can laugh at me. Nice little click there. Clicks are always good. You could certainly put the riser on there first, but I think, I don't know, in my case, because they're so close and everything, I think it's better to put it on there after. Alright, we're cooking now. I'm really curious to see how hot this thing gets. I really think it's going to be pretty bad, actually, now that I'm seeing how close they are together. Maybe this can be my outside winter rig. Put it on the back porch or something. Alright, so I gotta get some more risers out of the closet here. Moving right along. Tables are going to drive me nuts. OCD is kicking in. Power. This is number 4 on this PSU. So after this one, I'll switch over to the other PSU. 6. Oh, you know what? That's 6 here. 2 over here. Oh, so I am going to have to use my 570s too if I want to get 10. So is this a long ass stream or what? Real-time rig building though, so that's cool. Alright, so now I'm going to start using the other PSU. And that right there is pretty much the reason that I built these little platforms out of plexiglass, so that I could do that. So that I could click in a power cable, you know, without having to hold the bottom of the breakout board and stuff. So works out pretty well. It's going to be a real blast to turn this thing back on. With this super dense configuration here. I just wish that the GPUs had like RGBs and stuff. That would be really cool looking. No RGBs on these though. Or LEDs, not RGBs. Okay, we're making some progress here. Looking pretty solid. I don't see any real big mistakes yet. Y'all aren't yelling at me, so I'm assuming that everything is going okay according to y'all. Make sure these are tight before I put too many GPUs on here and then it falls. Those are solid. That's something that can kind of be a pain with these frames, is, you know, getting things level and getting this little crossbar here to be, you know, the right height compared to the GPUs, and then this rail down here, and then yeah, so it can be a little bit of a problem. All right, so that is 8 RX 580s. Now I have 2 RX 5s. Oh wait, one was hiding on me. All right, here goes another RX 580. Yep. Oh, I forgot to hook up the power on this one. Sure did. What am I doing? I skipped it. How did I skip one? Well, this will be a good test, though. I'll be able to see if I can actually reach it. All right, so we need power. But somehow I ended up skipping one. Come on. See, the bad thing is I can't see very well underneath here. Uh-oh. I got it. Oh, I got it. But then see, even once I get the riser on there, then I can't really touch the lock, you know, to lock it in place, which might not be a big deal, but let me see if I can. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to take this. I'll take this other GPU out so I can get to the lock. That's another bad thing about them being so close. All right, got that. Now we're on, what number is that? 4, 9. We're on number 9. First we need power. I'm getting like all out of sync here for some reason. All right. Let's see if I can hear this PSU a little bit here. I want to get at least one in there so it's not moving around on me. Alright, so what I need riser, cable, we're almost there. I think we'll be able to turn it on pretty soon. Hopefully. Alright, so I think we're at one more, and then we're going to be good. Yeah, so I've got two. So I could go 11, but I do have two 570s. This is one of them here. So this is 9 580s. So is this number 4? Yeah, that's 4. So I could go one more GPU in each server PSU maybe, or I could plug in the PCIe cables again and maybe get two more GPUs off of the main power supply. We'll see what happens. We might have to adjust the power situation a little bit. Oh wow, this one I drilled those holes correctly. They line up. One of them is stripped out though, so the bars are aluminum, so you have to be really careful. They strip out pretty easily. Yeah, I have a feeling I'll be redoing the power on this for sure because I think that it would be better to do it. Might be able to support at least one more GPU with the desktop power supply, so maybe. having to make up a couple additional split cables here. I'm gonna go, let's see here. See, so technically what I would do if I was really worried about the cable management at this point, I would probably I'd redo all of this and have one of these GPUs that I did plug into this PSU, I would have it on this one. But just for time's sake, I'm just going to connect another one over here to this one. Okay. And then another one over here. That. Okay. All right, we're getting close. We're getting close. It's a good thing I didn't run out of parts. That would have been kind of funny. Alright, so I got power, fourth one off of here. Okay. I actually did these a little backwards too on the PCIe slots. I know they're numbered in a certain way and it's not really logical, it's not in order, so it really doesn't matter too much, but I might move them over because I'm going to put in that other, the last GPU here, so it'll be 11 total GPUs. I got power adapter, or riser. This one is a different type of riser apparently, or the levers broke off of it. Should be alright though. Not really a way of locking it. I don't know why I connected. Why did I connect two of these? Y'all sit there and watch me connect two of these. I don't need two of them. One too many. Alright, riser. USB cable. CPU. I think this rig needs to be in a ice box with the GPU so close, you know. This is never going to work, but it's still kind of fun to see what it's going to work, you know, see how it's going to react here. GPU temperatures are going to be off the charts. I don't know though, might be surprised. I'm just sliding each of the PCIe adapters down here over one so I can fit the last one in there on the end where it is physically in the rig, just so that it kind of matches up, you know. Okay. Power here. Okay. Now let me just clean up a little bit before I start going crazy with all the stuff not organized. Man, it is burning up hot in here. It's pretty cold outside, but I got the window open and it's still hot. Remove that. All right, so what I want to do is make sure that my power to each issue is actually connected so that they'll all power up at the same time. I think I already did that, but I'm not sure. Nope, that one's not connected, so good thing I checked. Need that to be on a Molex. Let me see if this one will reach over there or not. Oh, you just gotta love Molex. So awesome. All right. So I'm just going to, I'm not going to worry about fans or anything like that yet. I don't even know what OS I have on here. I got the USB number 5. I'll check and see what OS that is. This rig's been off for quite a while. All right, let me clean up over here a little bit. I was just throwing all the cut cable ties over here on the ground, so. All right. I think I'm going to be able to sit it on the ground over there. Should be able to sit on the ground over there and plug in some power. Am I forgetting anything? I don't know, y'all were watching, so it's on y'all. Man, this thing's heavy. It's heavy. Oh. Oh, it's so ugly. Oh my gosh, it's so ugly. Whenever you got the rig down like this, if you've got this same frame, be really careful because these things will really tear your shins up, man, if you hit that. It is, yeah, it's not pleasant. I haven't done it yet today, so. All right, so I'm going to turn the power strip off. I can find it. There it is. Plug in the PSU power. That's PSU power. I'm connecting the Ethernet cable, of course. Don't forget to do that. I don't know if y'all can see this or not, but you know, this cable is going to be kind of weird because I put that server PSU in the front, right? So I don't know if y'all can see it. So the one server PSU is in the front now, see right here? So the power cable's got to run on the outside of the rig. So I'll probably straighten that up with some cable ties to make it look nice, you know. All right, so there's that one. This is driving me nuts. And then the desktop PSU. All right. So what are we thinking? Is it gonna work? Is it gonna power up? Gonna blow anything up? So here's the deal. I don't have enough power in this room to support this rig and the rig that I have on. So I'm going to turn the rig that I have on right now off. That's the rig that we're looking at right there. Well, we were looking at it. The Kessel rig, this one right here. Turn that one off. Okay. Oh wow, this is fun. What's up, Crypto Jason? What's up, man? We're about to power it on. I think. Let me see if I can blow some breakers and stuff. Okay, so right away there's 1, 2, 3, 4 GPUs that don't have the fan spinning, but that's could be actually with this rig in the past that has been a problem. So I'm going to power it off. Cycle the power again here. And all the fans usually spin on the second time, and they are, looks like. Yep. Alright, so I think we should be good now. So right now I'm going to look at the, let's look at the spreadsheet to find out what's number 5. So this is going to be Hive OS actually. Because it's got USB number 5 in it, so that's okay. We'll just go here. See if it comes up. I might have to actually burn a new Hive OS image. Let me see if I've got a new one on here. Yeah, I think I might have to burn a new one, but let's see what it was actually set up to. See what flight sheet is set here. Yeah, so it's CCX, so it's using XMR stack. Yeah, XMR stack miner. So because of that, it takes quite a while for it to actually start up. So I'm gonna wait a few minutes here and just see. It's not abnormal for it to take a little while. I could probably just throw the monitor on it too and and see what's going on with it. It kind of doesn't sound like it's doing anything. But again, that miner, it takes... Ooh, I hear it. It's doing stuff. No, yeah, it sees it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Is that only 10? So it's has 11 in there though. It's missing one GPU. Probably, I'm looking at the riser power, all those are good. Might just be something loose somewhere. I'd actually like to restart it again too before I go troubleshooting, you know, one GPU like that. Yeah, Crypto Jason, I like simple mining. I still use it. I have it on the co-owned rigs still. 2 rigs running it right now. Okay, so it looks like it's hashing here. See what's going on. Okay, so it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it is missing 1. I guess I could. It probably has the number. Some. Yeah, here we go. The number of GPUs right here. Here I'm counting them, but it's the numbers right there. All right, so what I'm gonna do is, I think it needed a update for 1. So yeah, it's looking for an upgrade. And again, this one hasn't been on for a while, so that doesn't surprise me that it needs an upgrade. So we'll do that. Why do you want to go back to simple mining though, Jason? What's the reasoning? So I think it did 1 upgrade successfully, so I'm doing the next one. Yeah, see it says successful there for the first one. And then it still needed 1, so I'm doing that one too. All right, so that one was successful too. Now what I want to do is actually restart here. That. I think I had to do this earlier with another HiveOS rig before it would start acting right. Okay, so now it sees all 11. I think. Yep. So it sees all 11. Hopefully it's going to fire up and start hashing. It sounds like it's going to. It's getting a little loud. All right, there we go. We are up in hashing on CCX. That's cool. I think I'm over 3 hours streaming now. Yeah. Good grief. Super tired. So I guess that this was a success. I mean, obviously there's a lot of cable management and stuff to do. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow or something. Try to clean it up, make it look nice, put the fans back on it. I don't know how I'm going to do the fans. If I'm going to do like both strings of fans on the front, maybe one on top. If I stack another rig on top of this, maybe I could use the bottom of the second rig to actually mount the fans. I don't know. I gotta figure something out though. And then of course the cable management's going to be a freaking nightmare because all those cables are so long. But I'll figure it out. I'll play around with it. Like I said, we'll probably do something tomorrow maybe. tomorrow night, possibly. So we'll see. But that is going to do it for me. I'll try to get some timestamps on the video, you know, because it's super long. So I mean, the majority of it was the rig, so that all started about 45 minutes into it or 30 minutes into it. So shouldn't be the timestamp shouldn't be too difficult. So anyway, I will see you guys probably tomorrow. Thanks for stopping in and checking out the stream. This, I know it was long and drawn out, but we built a whole rig basically. I mean, other than like the motherboard and CPU and memory and all that stuff, but pretty much everything else we did. So all right, I will see you guys tomorrow night. Stay savage, everybody. That's the wrong one. That's it.